Chapter 1. Whisper in the wall. Old Khrushchevka breathed moisture. Victoria sat barefoot on the windowsill, sipping instant coffee. Outside, a gloomy yard. Rusty swings, scattered trash. Even the daylight here seemed gray. She listened to the silence, first outside, then inside. The neighbor upstairs was drilling again, but by now it was just background noise like white static. Nights were worse, especially after the first Tuesday. 2 weeks after moving in, it happened. At 2:38 a.m., someone knocked at the door. Knock, 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 knock. Victoria walked barefoot over the cold linoleum, peeked through the peephole. Nothing. But when she unlatched the chain and opened the door slightly, she saw a candy on the mat. Small, green wrapper. A Soviet-era Korovka, the kind she used to have as a child. She didn't take it, just closed the door and went back to bed. In the morning, the candy was gone. On the third night, the knocking returned, but this time not on the door. Knock, knock, knock. It came from the wall, right behind her bed. She pressed her ear to the wall. Silence, but when she pulled the bed away, she saw a handprint on the wallpaper, as if someone had stroked it from the inside. The fingers were long, too long. The next day, she tried to ask about apartment for B. The old woman from the first floor just crossed herself. That apartment's been empty since 2001. Who lived there before? A single mother and a boy. No one ever saw him. Then, the smell started. They broke the door down 2 weeks later. Victoria returned home and, for the first time, turned on the hallway light during the day. She felt it. Someone was watching. Not through the peephole, not from outside, from inside the wall, from behind the thin, breathing plaster. In her mailbox, folded neatly in half, a piece of paper. In a childish scrawl, "You're my mom now." Chapter 2. The boy behind the wallpaper. The day after the note, Victoria stayed home from work. She just listened. All day nothing. No drilling, no footsteps, just the dripping faucet and the fridge humming. But by evening, things changed. She was editing a translation on her laptop when she felt a sudden tug on her hair. She spun around. No one there. But on the floor, near the bathroom door, lay the same candy, unwrapped this time. Nausea gripped her. Not from the candy, from the sense that someone had been in the apartment while she wasn't looking. She put on gloves, picked it up with a napkin, and threw it out. Then she noticed a bulge in the wallpaper near the floor, right next to the outlet, like something was breathing beneath it. She tore it away. Behind the wallpaper, a yellowed sheet, taped to the wall. A child's drawing. A square room, one door, two eyes drawn on the wall. In the middle, a faceless boy, just a blank oval. Caption: "This is me. I sit here." She kept tearing. Behind the next layer, paper clips, toothpicks, scraps of thread, and another drawing. This time, the boy wasn't alone. Beside him, a woman with unnaturally long arms. Caption: "Mom says I can't make noise. If I do, she'll leave again." That night, at 3:12 a.m., the lights went out. In the pitch dark, she heard bare feet shuffling slowly across the linoleum. Step, pause, step, and then a voice, muffled, childlike, from deep inside the apartment. "Quiet, she'll hear you." Chapter 3. She fed from the mouth. Victoria hadn't slept into nights. The hallway light no longer worked. Electricians never came. The neighbors seemed to vanish. No drilling, no footsteps. Even the old lady with the pigeons disappeared. She stood in the kitchen, eating from a can. When she looked up, a face appeared in the balcony glass. Small, pale, dark circles under the eyes. It vanished as soon as she flinched. She started logging everything. 02. 17 scraping inside the wall. 3:10 muffled sobbing. 4:42 something crawling under the floor. On the fourth night, she found a small opening in the wall hidden behind an old cabinet. Like a vent, she shone a flashlight into it and saw photographs. Old, sepia-toned, burned edges. First photo, a boy on a potty. Blank stare. Second, a woman's hand, holding a spoon, reaching toward the boy's mouth. Third, the boy, now older, feeding the woman mouth to mouth, like a baby bird. Below the photos, a chewed up wooden block, the letter M scorched into it. She backed away, and from inside the wall something moved. Not pipes, not rats. Someone was crawling inside. She grabbed a hammer and started smashing the wall, but beneath the plaster was metal sheeting. From inside, something knocked back. Once, thud, and then a voice. Not a child's, not a man's, a wet, raspy woman's voice. Did you feed him yet? Chapter 4. Mommy said don't open the door. Apartment for B. Year 2001. The smell warm, sweet rot. Like boiled milk left on the stove for a week. Windows shut tight. Curtains handmade, black. Light a single bare bulb. No outside sounds. Only the ticking of a cheap wall clock. The boy 9. Name. Sasha. Hair unevenly cut. Scabs on his ears. He sat on the floor, building with blocks. His mother Lydia. Tall, thin, eyes sunken, face unnaturally kind. The kind of kindness that hides a threat. She whispered, "You're my good boy. Mommy loves you. But if you scream again, I'll disappear. Understand?" Sasha nodded. He never left the apartment. Didn't know the smell of the street. He knew the rules. No noise in the bathroom. No standing by the window. If someone knocks, go to the corner. Be silent. At night, she read him the same story. About a boy who screamed, but no one heard. So he stopped forever. Sometimes she disappeared for days, locked him inside. No food. He licked the bathroom tiles to swallow water. When she returned, she sang to him, fed him by hand. At first, with a spoon. Then, mouth to mouth. If you swallow me, I'll stay with you forever. By the third month, Sasha stopped speaking. He listened to the walls. Sometimes, he imagined someone living on the other side. A woman like his mother but kind. He drew her on the wall, left notes behind the radiator. I'm good. I know how to be quiet. One morning, he woke up. His mother wasn't breathing, eyes wide open. He didn't scream. He sat beside her, sang the song she used to sing. 2 days later, he tried to feed her with leftover porridge, a wet rag, then with himself. When the neighbors finally complained about the smell and broke the door down, they found the mother dead, rotting in her housecoat. Sasha under the table, naked, fingernails torn, words scratched into the floor. Don't take her. I'm feeding her so she'll live. Chapter 5. The nurse who wasn't supposed to remember. 3 days after the photos and the voices, Victoria began searching online. She typed everything. Boy lived with dead mother, child fed corpse. Incident Khrushchevka. Only one result. A 2001 article. A child was discovered in an apartment on Grecheskaya Street, living with his deceased mother. Sources report the child was admitted to a psychiatric hospital. The clinic still existed. She called, not expecting anyone to answer. Someone did. A frail, wheezing voice. Hello, archives. I'm looking for information. A boy, found with his mother. Pause. Long, as if the voice had sunk into memory. Then, are you from Furby? Yes. Sasha, has he found you? Victoria froze. Who is he? What happened to him? He didn't speak, but he tapped his fingers on the floor. At first we thought it was nothing, but they were letters. He kept writing one thing. Bring her back. Her, his mother. She rotted. But he believed if he was good, she'd return. He fed a doll, made her voice, sewed a body from scraps. Then, he started speaking as her. Where is he now? The nurse coughed hard. They transferred him, closed the case. But I remember, because one night, he looked at me and whispered, I'll find a new mommy, one that's better, one who listens. Victoria hung up immediately. The hallway light died. A piece of paper slid under the door. She picked it up with trembling fingers. A charcoal drawing. A face. No eyes. No mouth. Caption. Mommy, don't leave. I have to eat. Chapter 6. The walls won't let go. Victoria no longer left the apartment. Mail piled up. Phone silent. Her job gone. The air too warm. Always smelled of milk and porridge. Even though the stove hadn't been on in days, 2 plates sat on the kitchen table. One cold porridge with a skin, the other empty. She waited for him to finish. She avoided mirrors, because sometimes, in the reflection, someone else stood behind her. Close, small. Sometimes she held someone's hand, but her palm was empty. At night, she spoke aloud. Is it tasty? Yes, Mommy. You won't hurt me, right? Only if you leave again. On the 8th day, they brought her a door. Old, scratched. From the basement, the workers said, take it if you want. Might as well replace yours. She leaned it against the doorway between kitchen and living room. No hinges. On the door, a faint print, like a hand pressed from the inside. Yellow-white, almost glowing. On the 9th day, she began feeding. By hand again. She took the spoon, lifted it to a mouth that wasn't hers, but someone was there. He was sitting beside her, eating, smiling. And then, the smell returned to the stairwell. Sweet, rotten, warm. The old lady complained. A week later, the repairmen came. They opened the door to forbid inside dust, cold, sealed windows. On the floor, empty bowls, a twisted cloth doll, a mouth cut into its face. On the wall, scratched in with fingernails. I'm a good mommy. I never leave. Under the radiator, a note, child's handwriting. She's mine now. You can't take her. She listens.